Welcome back to another edition of Buy Low Fantasy Sports with Mitch and Bam. I'm Mitch. He's Bam. Bam, say hello.
Hey.
Today we want to do a quick recap of Week 1 and share our thoughts on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, man, I'm freaking out. My season's done after Week 1. I had Aaron Jones and Devonta Freeman. They didn't do anything. Oh, man, 1 week. I'm already done.
Okay.
My whole roster. Oh.
Okay. Calm down, Bam. Calm down.
Oh, no.
Now that we've got Bam calmed down a little bit, let's talk some of the guys that we're buying, some of the guys we're selling, and the guys that we're holding.
So, wait, the season's not over after 1 week?
The season's not over after 1 week, man.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Overreact. I'm seeing this already across all my leagues, across all of the fantasy community. People are overreacting. Calm down. Take a breath. Remember that you drafted those guys for a reason. You have those guys on your roster for a reason. We're talking 1 week. Most of these guys didn't play in the preseason. Most of these guys are going through new offensive schemes. So it's important to calm down and not overreact to 1 week. This is basically the preseason game for the vast majority of starters across the NFL. So,
all right, I guess I believe you. The season's longer than 1 week.
Hey, I think there's 16 weeks in the season. But there's 17, but everybody plays 16 games.
Yeah.
All right, so with that being said, let's jump into our buy, sell, hold segment. I'm going to kick us off and talk about a guy that I'm extremely high on. So it's important to note that Tyreek Hill is out up to 8 weeks with a collarbone injury.
Ouch.
That's the latest intel we have. So if I'm targeting this Kansas City offense, they're still going to be the top scoring offense in the NFL. I'm looking for a piece of it. Mecole Hardman is a guy that I'm buying to step into that Tyreek Hill role. He's not going to produce on a week-to-week basis because he is a rookie. Rookies take some time to get acclimated, but I'm buying Mecole Hardman because of the fact that he is going to step into that Ty Hill role.
I like it. And I think you're right. He's not going to be a consistent producer for you, but definitely someone to plug in when the matchup's right, or maybe when the matchup's wrong. We see guys like this in DFS when they're low owned. These high ADOT deep threat guys are the ones you want to plug in your roster.
Yep. Especially if he stays cheap on DFS.
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving right along. Tevin Coleman from the San Francisco 49ers is out for a few weeks with an ankle injury. High ankle sprain?
I believe so, yeah.
I can never say his name. Breida is stepping to the starting role. So I'm buying Breida, but I understand he's not available in most fantasy leagues.
He doesn't have so much a glass jaw. He has a glass body. So he could be hurt at any second.
Yeah.
He might have sprained his ankle just now. We don't know about it.
Yeah, they need to wrap that joker in bubble wrap before they send him out on the field. But so I'm also buying on Mostert, however you say this guy's name.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert.
I'm buying on Mostert because of the fact that he is one ankle injury away from stepping into the starting role with the San Francisco 49ers. Pretty good offense, I think, is going to turn out to be. And so you want the number one guy, Coleman being out for a couple weeks. Who knows what's going to happen with Breida? Let's go ahead and get the backup. Make sure we're handcuffing him. And one more injury I want to talk about is that Nick Foles is out, placed on IR. He's out at least 12 weeks. So there was a guy that stepped in for him against the Kansas City Chiefs that played pretty well. Only had 2 incomplete passes out of 24 attempts by the name of, is it Robert Minshew?
Gardner Minshew.
Minshew.
As in someone who tends gardens.
Nice.
And then chews on men's, I think. I think that's what his name means.
Nice. So buying Gardner Minshew, he's got a extremely impressive, a fabulous mustache, if you will.
It's something very powerful, to be sure.
And so I'm buying on him a little bit. I don't want complete ownership of Minshew. I'm not, if you're playing in a league that does fab, the free agent buying, I'm not spending a lot of capital on him. I'm not spending all of my salary on him, but I do want him if I can get him for a couple of dollars. So maybe put like 5% of my total fab dollars towards him.
Yeah, if you drafted and you ended up with what's looking to be pretty weak QBs, this is a guy to go ahead and add, because in addition to his powerful mustache, there's reports of him in the weight room completely nude, lifting weights, listening to hard rock music. This guy's an animal.
That's awesome.
I bet he's a lot of fun.
And you go, so all of the things I said about Foles and D.D. Westbrook in the offseason regarding Coach D's, OCD's offense, I think that carries over to Minshew. He's going to get a little bit of those short passes.
He's going to be winging it, yeah.
He's going to be throwing the ball a lot more. And so, especially if other defenses start stacking the box to slow down Fournette, they got to rely on the passing game to turn into their run game. So
they have to.
Exactly. So I'm buying on Minshew. Anybody else you want to talk about, Bam?
Yes, I am going to hold on Baker Mayfield. Yes. So we tried to tell you on multiple shows of ours available for listening on YouTube. We tried to tell you that this Browns offensive line is bad and he's going to have a hard time this year. And what happened against Tennessee? They got after him, forced him into mistakes, penalties, and had a meltdown game, had multiple interceptions. So hopefully you had the Titans defense last week. So having said that, this is still a talented unit. Odell Beckham was a little banged up coming this game. Jarvis Landry missed most of the preseason with an injury.
Yep.
If they get a little healthier in a couple weeks, maybe get into a rhythm, you could return on investment here with Baker. Maybe move him later.
Yeah.
So I'm holding on Baker Mayfield.
Holding him until you can sell him down the road, right?
Right. I don't trust him week to week.
No. Yep. Exactly. If you drafted him in a redraft league, you drafted him in the 4th or 5th round. If you sell him now, you're selling him at probably the lowest value he's going to possibly get over the next few weeks.
Right.
Wait for him to pop up, get that value back up for you, and then go ahead and make the move. Especially in a 2-quarterback league, I want to move him when his value's at its highest. So.
Right. Another guy I want to hold right now is Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
He went absolutely nuts last week in Miami.
Yep.
And the question is, can he keep it up? Who knows?
Right.
Sounds like the Miami Dolphins are a minor league team right now, but they're still a professional football team, so we'll see what happens there. But anyway, I think if he blows up again against the Cards this week, you can get him. You could probably sell him then if you're flush at quarterback, because you still got to play the Steelers twice. You still got to play the Browns twice. These are some tough division games.
Yep.
I wouldn't. He's still a young quarterback. I mean, yeah, he could have some sustained success throughout the year, but I'm going to hold him for now, see what happens, and maybe possibly move him later a couple weeks from now.
Yeah. L-Jax is a guy that I've talked about on a couple of our shows. I really like the front half of his schedule, the first 6 to 8 weeks of the Ravens schedule.
Yes.
They play some pretty soft defenses. Once they get into week 8, week 9, that's when it starts to turn up. They've got the Steelers a couple times, which they looked terrible other night, but that's a whole nother story. Again, week 1, don't overreact to it. It's not the end of the world for the Steelers. They're going to bounce back. They always do. But so L-Jax is a guy, like I said, I'm not overreacting to this win in Miami because you and I have talked about this over the past couple of days. This makes the third straight season in which Baltimore has came into the season and completely blown out their opponent. They won 47-3 last year against the Bills, 31-3 a couple years ago. So I'm not overreacting to what L-Jax did here. He's not going to have, he's not going to put up 5 touchdowns on a week-to-week basis. But at the same time, this first 8 weeks of the season, I think his value goes up, up, up. And so if you hold him for now, let that value raise up, again, especially talking about 2 quarterback leagues here, you let him get up to the tip of his value, week 6. That's when I'm looking to move him. I'm not moving him before then, though.
Yeah, makes sense. Another guy I'm looking to sell, Mark Ingram, same team.
Yep.
So he had a big game against Miami, and I think we actually saw his ceiling here.
Yep.
He only had 14 carries in a blowout. That's problematic in and of itself. In a blowout, you want your running back to get 25 touches.
Yep.
And he's still in this committee, as we see. So I think Ingram is probably peak value right now.
Yep.
I'd go find a poor sap that didn't draft running back well and be like, hey, give me your first-string wide receiver for Mark Ingram. Yeah, I'll do that for you.
Yeah. Especially like a guy like Devontae Adams. Like, I'm buying on him right now because of the fact that he did so poorly, so his value has completely dropped. You're able to make that so, hey, look, you drafted a wide receiver in the first round. Your running backs are kind of weak. Let me do you a favor and give you Mark Ingram in exchange for your Devontae Adams, who we've seen not do well against the Bears. So it's just kind of a little move you can make while you're buying low and selling high on those guys that we don't think will perform at that level throughout the season.
We like to be good guys here on Buy Low Fantasy Sports.
We're real friendly.
Last thing I'm going to buy low on the Steelers offense.
Yes.
The Patriots looked really good Sunday night. So you could say the Steelers look bad, but really the Patriots look good. They're looking like they can have a top 5 defense this year. That secondary is really good. They went into shut out the Rams, damn near shut out the Rams last year in the Super Bowl and played really well last year in the playoffs. So this is looking to be a really good Patriots team. So don't overreact. The Steelers are getting stomped here. They were on the roads. We know the Steelers home road splits. That's common knowledge.
Yes.
So among people on this offense, I'm looking at Dante Moncrief, maybe a good speculative waiver ad if he's available. He had 10 targets. So that's some pretty heavy usage. We definitely want to grab guys who are getting that heavy usage like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of usage, I wouldn't worry about Connor's usage too much. I suspect it'll pick back up when they get into more favorable game scripts. Looks like they sat him in the entirety of the fourth quarter because they were out of it. So
yeah. And then on top of that, again, I want to go back to the fact that a lot of these guys didn't get much play in the preseason, and so their offense was out of sync. And you got to think the coaching staff too. They didn't do a lot. They ran very vanilla offenses in the preseason. So this is a preseason game for a lot of these starters, just because of the fact that they didn't get that work during the actual preseason.
I agree there. Is there anybody else you're buying, selling, or holding there, Mitch?
I am selling. There's been more breaking news as of yesterday, Tuesday.
Oh God!
So in the Antonio Brown saga, saga continues.
It's like another crappy Star Wars movie coming out. Oh man.
That Disney's running, they've completely ran that.
Is Disney running AB right now?
Right.
I bet they are.
Good grief, I hope not. Not with the reports that are coming out, but
Oof.
So
right.
There's 2 things that I want to talk about here. First off, the Patriots have Antonio Brown now. They've got this star-studded group of wide receivers, right? They've got Antonio Brown, Demaryius Thomas, Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, that we lovingly refer to as Flash. So you got all of these guys. How are you going to feed all these mouths? So the Patriots went out and traded Demaryius Thomas away to the New York Jets for next year 6th-round pick. They gave Demaryius Thomas away. So his value goes from just above 0 to just below 0, going to the New York Jets.
Yeah, and he used to play for Gase, so at least there's some familiarity with the offense. You hope he can maybe see the field a little quicker. So if you got him on your team, go ahead and sell him. But
yeah, I'm selling on him here. Now the other news that came out yesterday is Antonio Brown has been slapped with a lawsuit alleging that he was involved with some sexual assault and rape allegations with a young woman. So I'm selling on Antonio Brown right now as soon as I can before he's kicked out of the NFL for all that goes with that, because his antics over the past 2 months uh, and this latest accusations, I don't want any part of Antonio Brown on my fantasy roster.
It seems like a mentally unhealthy person. So
I'm selling on him right now. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
So moving on. So right now, I think you can buy low on one guy from the Buffalo Bills, Mr. One Devin Singletary.
Yes.
Now, before this game, I was worried about him being stuck in a committee. During this game against the New York Jets, I was still worried about him being stuck in a committee because Frank Gore out-touched him. But then I looked at the statistics after the game. Devin Singletary was in on 76% of the offensive snaps for Buffalo Bills. They went extremely pass happy after the first quarter. Singletary was in there for the entirety of the second quarter and the second half. He was the running back in that situation. Not to mention the fact that he outgained Gore. Gore had 13 touches that went for 21 yards. Devin Singletary had nine touches rather, that went for 86 yards. So Devin Singletary is the most skilled running back on this team. I think it's only a matter of time before he takes over that lead role and is getting the lion's share of those touches. What do you think about Devin Singletary?
I like it. We see this every year where even on a bad team like the Bills, or maybe a below average team like the Bills, where there's a young guy kind of comes in and secures a starting role early in the year. And, you think Alfred Morris a few years back, there's plenty of guys like this, but you want to go ahead and grab this guy before anybody else does. And so, when he blows up, either you got trade fodder, you got a league winner. Devin Singletary could be a league winner for you this year if the Bills' offense kind of picks up in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, exactly. On top of that, he did get most of the passing game work. Like I said, he was in there when they went pass happy. So I think there's a lot of value, especially in a PPR. He's not available in a lot of leagues. I think he's 70-something% owned. So, but now might be a perfect time to trade for him. So, all right. Yeehaw. Next guy, Malcolm Brown. So this is the Los Angeles Rams. I almost said St. Louis. I caught myself there, Bam.
Good job.
I tried to tell you.
This is the second we tried to tell you.
Yeah. I've tried to tell you in every video that we've talked this so far. Everybody wanted to grab Darrell Henderson as Todd Gurley's handcuff. Malcolm Brown is his backup. I've said that all the way back to our very first show. Malcolm Brown is the handcuff and the backup for Todd Gurley. He got all the red zone work.
But Darrell Henderson's the new shiny object.
He's so shiny. No, I
so
know.
So shiny, we have to have him. My favorite fantasy sports analyst told me to grab him in the 4th round.
He got 2 snaps. He saw 2 snaps.
Correct.
Malcolm Brown had 12 carries and 2
touchdowns. Yeah.
Malcolm Brown had 2 touchdowns. He had the same number of touchdowns as Darrell Henderson had snaps. Go get Malcolm Brown right now. Don't pause this video. Go pick up Malcolm Brown. I'm mad that you didn't already have it if you listen to this show.
Wow, you're yelling at our audience. Nice.
That's right.
All right.
So, all right. Wait, I have a question for you. And let me go through my next sell real quick before I get there for you. I'm also selling Austin Eckler. Maybe not right now. Maybe I'm holding him just a little while longer. But I think right now is the tip of his value.
Ooh, we got a combination, a sell hold.
Yeah. So if you want to hold him, I'm not going to be mad at you. But I think this is the tip of his value. This is the very ceiling. He scored 3 touchdowns, had over 150 yards. Austin Eckler did for the who are they now? The
Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Good grief. I can't keep track of where they're moving everybody. So Austin Eckler had 150 yards, 156 total yards, 3 touchdowns. There's already reports that Melvin Gordon's moving up and going to try to rejoin the Chargers at some point in the near future. They're saying week 6 to 8. There's some rumors floating around that he's going to rejoin around 3 or 4. So I'm looking to sell Eckler right now because I think this is the very ceiling of his value. But if you hold him because you want to wait to see what happens with Melvin Gordon, maybe you're the Melvin Gordon owner and you want to keep Eckler. That's fine. I'm fine with that. But I think this is the tip of his value if you're not the Gordon owner.
Yeah, I agree with that. You want to sell high on a guy that I think the Chargers probably are a team that missed the playoffs this year. They're pretty beat up and pretty old, so
yeah,
I don't think I don't think too highly of the Chargers per se this year.
Yep. All right, so getting to my question for you. Are you buying, we saw on Monday Night Football, the Oakland Raiders just completely dismantled the Denver Broncos. Are you buying on the Oakland Raiders offense?
No. I'm buying pieces of it.
Yep.
Well, we see the same thing from David Carr. He is who he is. He's a check down guy who occasionally takes a deep shot. We saw that last night. He was, I think, 10 of 11 at one point for 77 yards last night, something weird like that. So he can complete short passes all day, but his receivers aren't really getting a lot of yak. He doesn't really have a talented receiver core. He's got Tyrell Williams, who's a talented guy, but let's face it, he's number 2 wide receiver in this league.
Right.
So he had a pretty good game last night, and I would hold Tyrell Williams to see what happens there.
Yep.
I would not buy Derek Carr because he's going to have, below average games all year, most likely.
And he's got those weird home road splits too. So maybe he's a guy you play when he's at home,
right?
Fade when he's on the road.
Or you can do both and not have him on your roster.
Yeah, just fade him all the time. Yeah,
fade him. Yeah. But a guy I am buying is Darren Waller, the tight end.
Yeah.
He showed some speed, some route running ability. He had 8 targets in a game they were ahead. That's a pretty big deal. So, I mean, he's got, especially for tight ends where volume's always flaky, a guy getting 8 targets in a game they were leading the whole time, that's a big deal. Yeah. So I am buying Darren Waller.
100% of the snaps.
Yes, and he's stepping into that Jared Cook role that Jared Cook had last year. He was real valuable at that. So we know that's a valuable role in this Raider offense. Yep. So I am buying Waller. I'm holding on Ty Will. I'm not buying Carr.
What about Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs, yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure what to make of that one yet. Nobody expected what happened last night, and he was getting drafted pretty high. If you drafted him, I'd say 4th round or earlier, I'd go ahead and sell him now.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I don't think he does what he did last Monday night.
Yeah, they upended the Broncos on defense, and that was a weird thing to see.
I don't think he does that on a consistent basis. He may have a couple more games like that throughout the year, but if you had him, you got 22 fantasy points out of him, 24 fantasy points, something like that. I think he's going to be a habitual 12 to 15 point guy, but I don't think he's going to get. He'll have like 2 to 3 games where he gets more than 20 points.
Like this week against the Chiefs, he's probably not going to get you 25 points again because they're going to be throwing 50 times. So. Yeah.
Unless he catches all those checkdowns you just talked about, Derek Carr.
Hey, send him to Waller.
That's right. All right. And then one more little part of this segment that I want to talk about is all of the rookie wide receivers, and I'm including Hawkinson as well, Detroit's tight end. All of them there were 4 rookie wide receivers, Marquise Brown, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Keyshawn Johnson, and then, of course, Hawkinson that I just mentioned.
We'll call him Hawk for short.
Hawk, yeah. What are you doing with these guys?
Marquise Brown, I'm definitely selling him.
Yeah.
He only had 14 snaps week 1. And you would expect that he's a guy that came into week 1 kind of banged up. So you'd expect his snap count to rise. But they're not going to be playing the Dolphins every week where you can get 2 easy touchdowns out of 14 snaps on him. So very fast guy. Definitely going to see some usage this year, but definitely a guy that watch out for health.
Yeah.
Because he's already been beat up a lot in his first year.
Gotcha. AJ Brown, Tennessee Titans wide receiver, went 6 catches for 100 yards, 102 yards, something like that.
I'd sell him. I think Corey Davis was the other Titans wide receiver. He was shadowed by Denzel Ward.
Yep.
So obviously he was taken out of the game. Denzel Ward's a very good corner.
Yep.
And Marcus Mariota is not a very good quarterback. So
Right.
I think A.J. Brown, just opportunity there. If Corey Davis is another bad matchup at any point with shutdown corner, then you can consider A.J. Brown, but not a guy that I'm particularly interested in holding.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being touchdown dependent, much like all of that offense is, just because I don't think Mariota is very consistent, and so I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to get 6 catches for 100 yards every week. I think he's going to be a guy that gets 3 catches for 35 yards, and so if he gets that touchdown, it's a pop game. But other than that,
yeah.
All right, moving on. Terry McLaurin of the Washington Redskins had a nice little game with Case Keenum finding a little bit of a rhythm. What are you doing with him?
As much as I want to buy a guy like this because he's really talented, runs really great routes, a real student of the game, I'm going to have to sell him. He's a rookie wide receiver playing with Case Keenum. So it's not going to it was pretty easy for the Redskins last week because the Eagles blew a lot of coverages. Their pass rush wasn't getting home. So it's not going to be that easy for them every week.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hold a wide receiver from the Redskins.
Gotcha. And Keyshawn Johnson, you and I have kind of talked the Cardinals offense quite a bit in the offseason. I'm selling Keyshawn here. The Cardinals offense is interesting to me because we really didn't expect it to do well. And for 3 quarters Sunday night, it didn't do well at all. But then something happened, at the turn of the third, going into the fourth quarter.
They wore him out.
The Lions defense was just gassed.
Yeah.
The Arizona just ran so fast at them that they just couldn't substitute, and so they were getting kind of flustered.
They were done.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and so the Cardinals' offense is very interesting to me because they're not good. There is not a good offense. It's just your defense is going to be so wore out by the third or fourth quarter.
They're going to get you by attrition, and they do. They have Kirk there, who's a somewhat talented guy. You have the ghost of Larry Fitzgerald, and you have David Johnson there. So there is some components to get some scoring on the board. Yeah. Week to week, don't trust it, don't want it.
Right. And so I'm the same way. I don't want any piece of it, but it's just interesting to me. It's something I'm going to watch over the next couple of weeks to kind of see what I'm going to do with it as they play, because I think the Lions are one of those teams that have really good starters, but they have very little depth behind those starters. So I'll be interested to see what happens this week against Baltimore to see how if they react the same way, going into the late third, early fourth quarter. Are the Ravens worn out like that, and can they move the ball at all? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Very interesting.
And the last guy is Hawkinson, the tight end from Mr. Hawk. The first-round tight end out of Detroit Lions. Had a monster game for a rookie tight end. Rookie tight ends usually don't perform to this level. I don't know of any tight end. I think he set the record for tight ends debuting.
Yes,
with 135 yards and a touchdown.
Last guy to have a game this big as a rookie tight end was Mike Ditka back in the 60s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how impressive this was. And Hawkinson's a guy, he's super talented. That's why he went top 10. He's got size-speed ratio, and he comes from what's now becoming known as tight end university. Kittle came from Iowa. Noah Fant came from here. So they're producing tight ends like crazy. Whoever their position coach there is really good.
Yeah.
So he came there pro ready, knew how to block already, so he's able to earn more time on the field. And when he got that time on the field, he exploited it against the Arizona Cardinals team, which we talked about in our Friday or Sunday show. Is their team schematically lets you have a lot of stuff for the tight end. He went and exploited it. Got a lot of yak, caught every ball, found holes in coverages and made it easy for himself. So definitely an anomaly among rookie tight ends. That I would not go starting rookie tight ends after this, saying, "Oh, well, Hawkinson did it." Well, Hawkinson's a freak.
Yeah, he's an anomaly. So are you buying Hawk?
I am buying him.
Yeah, I think with Stafford there, Stafford's a guy that he's kind of checked down quite a bit over the past couple of years. He doesn't have
Galladay.
Yeah.
You got carry on to keep the defense honest. You got Galladay to get coverage away from him. You got Marvin Jones, the deep threat. There's enough there where Hawkinson can be really, really productive this year.
Yeah, I think of all of these guys that we've talked about, Hawkinson is in the most consistent offense. Baltimore, I think, is going to be a good offense, but they're not going to be consistent. Tennessee, again, Mariota's inconsistent. Terry McLaurin, of course, Keenum is inconsistent, and Keyshawn Johnson. I still don't know what to think about that Cardinals defense or Cardinals offense. So
I didn't know how to spell that guy's name.
Which one?
Keyshawn Johnson.
Nice.
All
right. Moving on. So that wraps up our buy, sell, hold part of the show. Bam, you have any other guys you want to talk about on that before we move on? We'll make sure.
No, let's go.
All right. Moving on to Thursday night football.
TNF.
Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. This game opened with a 51 over-under, 51 and a half, rather, and the Panthers are favored by 5. It's going to be kind of a high-scoring affair. I think the highest over-under on the Sunday slate was 52. So the Vegas experts expect this game to shoot out a little bit. What do you think?
Not sure yet. So we got 2 quarterbacks here in Cam Newton and Jameis Winston. They're trying to bounce back after a bad week 1. Cam still looks like he's recovering from all those injuries and shoulder surgery. And Jameis Winston looks like he's still adjusting, and the offense to a whole is still adjusting to head coach Bruce Arians' offense. And wait, what's that? Breaking news. Jameis threw another interception just now. Breaking news. Jameis, he loves throwing. So he's an interception machine.
Hey, can we just talk about that for a minute? Can we talk about that for a minute? The San Francisco 49ers had three interceptions against them in week 1.
And they had like 1 or 2 all of last year.
They had 2 all of last season.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman has not had a pick 6 since 2013. He had one against Jameis Winston. This dude, he is off the chain when it comes to throwing to the opposite team.
He loves a good pick 6. He's like, well, if my team can't score, the other team might as well, right?
Exactly.
So just setting the stage here, you got 2 quarterbacks looking to bounce back here. Thursday's a short week. So on the injury front, Greg Olsen, the tight end for the Panthers, might be out.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's out, Ian Thomas becomes very interesting in this game. Him and DJ Moore, because the Bucs, if you listen to our Sunday show, we told you this, the Bucs defensive coordinator Todd Bowles likes to funnel passing games to the middle of the field and rally and make tackles. Yeah. That's one of the reasons we were talking about Pettis last week. So I think DJ Moore is the slot guy, Ian Thomas is the tight end. They make a lot of sense here as some guys to get some production from the Panthers.
Yeah.
And then do we trust Jameis Winston? I do not, in fact, trust him unless I need an interception. Then I'll trust him with that.
I trust him about as much as I trust him. I trust him to perform well as an NFL quarterback as much as I trust him with my teenage daughter.
Whoa! Zing. I can't disagree with you there. So I don't trust Jameis Winston, but I don't trust this Panthers defense either. They left the Rams offense left a lot on the field last Sunday. They missed a lot of throws.
Yes, they did.
So there was a lot open there. So the matchup is just as good this week as it was last week for Godwin and O.J. Howard, who are both pretty chalky guys in DFS, and guys are getting a lot of run in the fantasy community. So the matchup just as good for those 2 guys here. So it'd be interesting how much recency bias comes into play here, playing guys like DJ Moore and Godwin and Howard. So those are the guys I would target from the passing game.
Yep. One thing I do want to mention, though, is that Thursday night football usually presents a unique opportunity for running backs rather than quarterbacks and wide receivers.
They normally score higher, yeah.
So what do you think about the running backs in this matchup?
Well, Run CMC is obvious. We don't even have to talk about him other than that he's awesome.
Yes.
There is a funny stat that somebody tweeted out the other day. His last 10 games that he played 4 quarters, because I think they benched him week 17 because they were out of the playoffs. He's averaging 30 fantasy points a game. 30.
That's
nuts. Yeah. He got another 30 last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's just insane. So, it goes out saying to play him. DFS, he's going to be high owned. So, figure it out.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, Ron Jones took control of that backfield a little bit. Yeah, he didn't see a lot of third down work, but he got 55% of the snaps there.
Yeah.
So we saw Malcolm Brown kind of get some of those goal line touches there. Ron Jones, a similar style runner. Maybe he has a decent chance to get in the end zone here.
Yeah.
If Jameis Winston doesn't throw an interception.
Yeah.
I guess Ron Jones can score if Jameis throws an interception, Ron Jones strips him, and then runs in the end zone. That might be the only way he gets it done.
Or if it's fumbled during the snap, Ron Jones.
Yeah, something crazy's got to happen. Something crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting watching that game because in the first, the first 17 to 20 minutes of that, I thought Peyton Barber was going to run away with the lead role because he was the only one touching the ball, and then all of a sudden Jones came in and just kind of ran away with it there. So it
sounds like Ron Jones it's his job to lose once he's healthy.
Yeah, it's just really an odd thing. I think just like you said, I think you want to target the inside guys against from Carolina. DJ Moore, Ian Thomas, Olsen if he plays. I don't know if Olsen plays. I don't know if I want to get there.
He got a ton of targets last week.
He did, but
yeah. So it just depends, and this whole game comes down to there's 2 quarterbacks that aren't playing well right now.
Yeah.
So what do you do with it? You can't play all the running backs because only 2 of them get touches.
Yeah, in a single game slate on DFS, I might go both kickers, both running backs, and one guy that I expect to produce. I don't know.
Right.
Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is always going to produce. He's not quite to the level D-Hop is, but I think he's always going to produce. But anyways, so I might go that, both kickers, both running backs, and just call it a day. I don't know.
Yeah, just pick a cheap guy to go with those, and you should be good to go. See what happens.
Cool. All right. Anything else to add to this?
I think that's all. Just pay attention to injuries and see how it goes.
Sweet. Well, this has been another Buy Low Fantasy Sports Show with Mitch and Bam. I'm Mitch. He's Bam.
Goodbye.
We're out.
We are out.